Here from the Miranda Clinic. We just finished up for the day, and I thought before I head off I'll talk to you guys a bit about plantar fascia. So most of you will know it as plantar fasciitis. Nowadays the term's been coined to being plantar fasciopathy. The main reason being is the itis refers to it just being an inflammatory change, and people go, oh, I'll just take anti-inflammatories like Nurofen and it will get better. But what we're finding with more research is that it's more of a degenerative condition, something like an Achilles tendon, which is now referred to as an Achilles tendinopathy. So most of you will know where your plantar fascia is if you're a runner. If you don't, it's that nice thick fibrous tissue under your foot that feels amazing when you roll it through with a tennis, golf or spiky ball. And the purpose of today is about running. Can you run with plantar fasciopathy? And with running season coming along, and with Sutherland to Surf, City to Surf being pretty soon, we see a lot of runners coming through with plantar fascia issues. The main reason being is you've started off a little bit later and you've really tried to load up the foot, and that tends to irritate a plantar fascia. Or the other issue is you're really trying to do some speed work or run faster, and that tends to irritate a plantar fascia as well. So the question is, can you run with plantar fascia pain or plantar fasciopathy? The answer is yes, but it depends on where you're at. So pain is a massive determinant. So we use a traffic light approach. So if your pain is relatively about a 1 or a 2, 10 being the worst, during your running, a couple hours after, and that next morning, that's generally a good sign to keep running. But you've got to be really cautious as to how you increase your running load, both with distance and with speed. If it's a 3 or 4, you really got to pay attention to a bit more, so you can keep running, but you might have to pin back a little bit in terms of your speed work and also your distance work as well. And if your pain goes over a 4, that's an indication that you might need to stop running, and depending on how quickly you settle down, you might recommence running again. It also depends on, I guess, if you have an event coming up. If you have an event coming up pretty soon, you've been training super hard for it, and you're adamant you want to run, then that might be something to consider. But you also need to understand the repercussions as to if you run if you do the event and you're quite flared up and you're quite acute with your pain as well. So you can run if you have plantar fascia pain. It just depends on how much pain you have and how quickly it's settling down. In terms of orthotics or orthoses, is it helpful? It can be. The research out there is very limited. There isn't any research to prove that a custom-fitted pair of orthotics is going to make much of a difference long-term. You're probably better off getting something like a gel heel cup, and that seems to have some really, really good effects, just having a nice little gel heel cup. So orthotics can be helpful. In terms of what is helpful, how can you get pain relief, and how can you start running sooner if you have stopped running because you've got plantar fascia pain? It really depends on two different things, short-term or long-term. So with the research, there's some good short-term research to show that stretching the plantar fascia gives you that short-term relief, same with taping as well. But in terms of long-term relief, and this is really where it's at in terms of being able to run and go back to your normal running loads, is trying to do strength training where you're lifting heavy loads but winding up your plantar fascia, and then gradually progressing through. It's important to know with plantar fascia pain that it's slow in progression. You're not going to get increments week by week. It's going to be more on a monthly basis, so you kind of reassess and see where you're at in a month's time from when you started your rehabilitation. And it generally takes, depending on the person and how badly you're flared up, anywhere between 3 months up to 6 months, and maybe a bit more if you continue to irritate it a fair bit. The last thing I want to touch on with plantar fascia pain is shoes. Can shoes make a difference? In terms of research, nothing out there to prove that one shoe is better than the other. But what we do find clinically is Hokas are a really good brand for people with with any sort of foot pain or plantar fascia pain. It's quite a cushioned pair of shoes. Doesn't look amazing, but it's super light and it's super comfortable, and most people we've trialed on a pair of Hokas have had some really, really good results with improving their plantar fascia pain and returning to running. So Hokas, if you guys are listening to me, that's your plug, and I'll be expecting a check in the mail soon. If you guys have any questions, please post it below. I'm happy to answer any questions on plantar fascia pain or anything related to it as well. If you know anyone that has plantar fascia pain, tag them below. Let them have a listen to this and leave a comment, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Hope you guys had a great hump day.